Hello there, my Dotty family, and welcome to my channel. Join me on this magical journey through the world of dot art. I am Zelda from the Faerie realm, and today I want to introduce you to paint. These are different various kinds of paint that you get. I also have them available in my Etsy store. The first batch here that I've got here, I couldn't put all of my colors here. But these are your normal acrylic paints. So they are just the plain paints that you can work with. I have various different colors, like a lot of those. And they are usually the cheapest of the bunch when you're going to go and buy them at the shop. Then next up you have the metallic paint. So the metallic paint is all about shimmering. So like your gold, like your silver. All of those that has a nice bling to it. So I call them the bling paints. I had a student once who wanted to do a whole piece just in bling, and it turned out looking quite good. Next up we have the glow paints, so also known as the neon paints. They often get mistaken for glow in the darks. They're not glow in the darks, they glow under a blue or a UV light. So what I have done is I've bought myself a set of blue fairy lights, and I've got my 5 favorite pieces up in my room, and at night I will switch on my fairy lights and they will just absolutely glow. I will put a picture up right here to show you the piece in daylight and then the piece under a glow light. Next up we have the transition paints. Transition paints are paints that change color depending on the angle that you look at it from. It's quite hard to see on this one, but this is a green to burgundy. This is a blue to mauve, so it becomes like a purple and a blue, and this is the fuchsia to gold. Just to illustrate to you, I have done them on a rock. Now these are the fuchsia of the blue to mauve, so you can see it goes like a purple and then a blue. These ones, these big dots here, are the green to burgundy. You can see as soon as I shift the rock, you can see those colors there. And then these ones are the fuchsia to gold, so the outside rim of this flower, you can see them changing color like that as well. I've discovered those paints and I absolutely love them. Next up, I want to explain to you guys about the viscosity of the paint. So what you want is the viscosity of yogurt. So when you pour it out, you do want it to flatten down a little bit, but you don't want it to be completely flat. Because when your paint is too runny, your dots are going to fall flat. And if your paint is too stiff, it's going to give you a sharp point. It's always going to make like a little vein effect. And I will show you guys that when we get to the dotting section of the next video. What is also great about these paints is as soon as you're done and they have dried, so you leave them for a day, it's quite easy to clean the palette by just peeling out the paint like that and then just throwing it away, which makes the palette cleaning quite easy. The last color I would like to introduce you guys is what I use for all of my backgrounds. I use black chalk board paint. There are 2 different kinds. Apparently you get chalk paint and chalk board paint, which is this one. The chalk paint contains chalk, and this one is to create a chalk board with. What I found using these as the background color is that most of your surfaces only need 1 layer with this to cover. It is cheaper than acrylic. A little goes a long way, and it dries relatively quickly. When you are dotting, I would recommend always using a darker background than the dots you're dotting on with. That's why most artists in the dotting world paint their backgrounds black, as you would have noticed. What's also great about this is because we're working with a white chalk pencil, it's also great to write onto the surface and then to do your structure and your planning lines with the chalk on the chalkboard paint. For color selection, what I can do as a recommendation is that first you can think about your room or the area which you want to hang your piece in, and then work with those colors that you've got available. So in other words, if you want to hang this in a baby's room and it's a girl, you can use obviously baby pink and then just build your palette around that. So maybe all of the like light colors. Let's see what we've got here. Just as a suggestion, maybe a baby pink. Let's say the room has got a bit of lavender in there and maybe a bit of white as well. So then that would be your color selection for that piece. If you're not quite sure what colors to pick, what I can recommend is you can do multiple of the same colors. So let's say multiple pinks, multiple purples, multiple blues. They all go together as well. So I can even include another one in here, something like that. Or what you can do is you can do, let's say for instance we were choosing 4 colors, right? Then we can do all warm in 2 different shades. So maybe do like that. So we have 2 glows and we have 2 acrylics here just to balance them out. Or you can do all cool. So we can do blue on this side and maybe green on this side. What you can also do is you can have them maybe run in a sequence of a color wheel. If we had to do something like, let's just see here, you can do maybe a yellow, an orange. After orange you've got red. After red you can do violet, and after violet you can do blue, and so on. So all the rainbow colors like that. What's also great is that if you try and balance your colors as well. So here I've got some acrylics and you maybe want to bring in some bling. Then try and bring in some some warmer colors as well. So something like that could also work, because the yellow goes with the yellow and the rose gold goes with the orange. So now you've got 2 bling and 2 non-bling. So you can mix and match all like that. A website that I like to use as color selection as well is Design Seeds. They have various palettes on there that you can make use of. So you can choose the color that you want to build around with, and they will give you examples of palettes with that color in there. They didn't sponsor this video, but I really like their website, so I just wanted to refer you to that as well. Then the reason why I decided to bottle my paint into 50 ml bottles, right, is because it minimizes wastage. That's the one thing. I found that these are also 50 ml, but I found with the 50 ml bottles that you get, when you unscrew the lid, you have a bigger surface of paint that is exposed to air and becomes dry pretty quickly. And then you also have the dry flakes of the paint that falls into the paint. Not only that, but when you pour it out into a palette, you do pour out quite a bit, and it really is wasteful. And with us being taught not to waste, I decided to minimize wastage on the bottles by pouring them into a nozzle bottle. Not only can you control how much comes out of here, let me show you. You can do even that much at a time, which is obviously going to be too little, but when you're using the ball tools, this would be great because you're only going to be using fractions of that amount in order to do that. Something else about these nozzle bottles that's also great is we're going to start using them in the swoosh techniques that I'm also going to bring in at a later stage. So for the swoosh techniques, for instance, this piece, you can see that I used the swoosh techniques there. So this was actually from a swoosh workshop that I presented that we use the nozzle bottles for. Very handy straight out of the bottle. And then another thing is that we're going to get to the advanced workshops where we're going to start doing a little bit more line work, and that's going to create things like that. And then you can also start writing words and things like that. That is where the nozzle bottles really come in handy during my workshops. If you guys have any other comments you would like to add below, let me know. Let's continue this discussion down there. And I would like to thank you for joining me on this magical journey. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Stay dotty, stay magical. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Every single